Welcome to Rachel's Recaps. Today we're going to talk about Tenet. Before watching Tenet, the grand total things I knew about the movie was that the main character's goal was to prevent World War III. A very interesting movie, although very confusing. Very confusing. The first scene, this is going to contain a lot of spoilers, so don't watch it if you don't want that. The first scene is an opera, and people come in with masks and start shooting everyone and put all the regular pedestrians to sleep. And already I'm like, okay, I know this is going to be a thinker movie. I'm trying to pay attention to who's where and what's happening and the character that's being extracted. And it's already overwhelming, but this scene apparently has not much to do with the rest of the movie. The only thing is the sort of foreshadowing of the exploded wall becoming not exploded, and the main character sees that. We're going to call him the protagonist because that's what he calls himself a lot throughout the movie, which I appreciated. And then from there, he is tied to a chair on a railroad track. Again, I'm paying like a huge amount of attention to this scene and trying to figure out what's going on. And it seems ultimately not that important. Then we realize that he's part of some sort of like CIA-ish organization to try to stop this event from happening or World War III from happening. He starts going to India and Europe and back and forth and here and there, and then this international arms dealer, who is definitely the bad guy, gives off a super bad guy, full beard, creepy white dude vibe. And he has a beautiful tall wife that sort of becomes the damsel in distress of the whole movie. And so they're sort of back and forth over across Europe, and then they try to get into this place where art is stored, and then he ends up fighting this black, masked, completely covered up person. Later you find out he's fighting himself. One's going forward and one's going backward, and that's pretty cool. Then the last scene, we're going to skip to that because that is so confusing. There's two sort of armies. They have a red handkerchief and a blue handkerchief to sort of signify what team they're on. You can't really tell who they're fighting. One's fighting in one direction sort of through time and the other's fighting the other way. And it's just chaos. And they sort of show it again and again and again. And I couldn't follow it at all, except that the protagonist gets underground and he rescues a thing called the algorithm. And then his other self comes in and opens the door for him. And him and this other guy are kind of going backward and forward through time, but not really. And they leave a lot of loose ends, which is cool and interesting and realistic. But I think I was spending a lot of mental energy trying to figure out how they were all going to get tied up. And it kind of didn't, but it was still really cool and very fun to watch and definitely loud. And you never found out really much about the train or the opera or any of these other characters. And then the really tall Fleur de la Cour character kills the bad guy, who's her husband, and that's pretty cool. And then they're randomly water skiing his corpse behind the boat at the end. Why? Who knows? But it was funny. And I think they save the world, although at the end you're not really sure, and they each sort of take off one direction, the other direction through time. And it's real weird, but worth watching. Fun experience. Definitely probably will gain more out of it watching it the second time through. And that's the recap. Out of 9 algorithms, I would give this movie 7.